be showing you how to add doors that require basically the player to flip a switch to open it. So what I'm going to do is first start off by opening our base file here. And first off, I'm probably going to start with adding some door segments. So in our library, we have to make sure we're in the Segments tab. So get the window here, and basically click on Add New Segment. Now to stay with the theme of this room, I'm going to be using the sci-fi and basically the control room. But what we'll want to do, or what you will want to look for, is a door that has the remote basically in brackets there. You can assign any door the remote script, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So basically just go ahead and select the door, then press OK to add it to your library, and then basically just left click to paint the doors. And now what you'll want to do is go into entity editing mode by either pressing N on your keyboard or using the tool bar here. And what I'm going to do is go into our first door, and I can do that by mousing over it and right clicking. Now right now, because we're going to be using switches, if you want to use two switches, you have to name basically the two doors uniquely. If you wanted to have one switch in the first room that opened both doors, you would have both doors named the same. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this to door 1, and what I'm going to do is just say apply changes. I'm going to go over to our second door here, and I'm going to name this door door number 2. Now like I said before, you could apply this script to basically any door that you wanted to. All you needed to do is go into your AI scripts here, choose main, click on the ellipse here, and then basically what you're looking for is door remote.fpi, which comes by default in your scripts. This door already has it, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit cancel. So just to recap, the first door we named door 1, the second door we named, of course, up here, door 2. We're doing this because we want to use two separate switches to open each door. So I'm going to go ahead and say apply changes. Now, what I want to do is add some switches to my level, so I'm going to go over to our library panel here and click on Entities, then Add New Entity. Now, both World War II and Sci-Fi have switches. You can find them underneath wall furniture. Of course, I'm going to stay with what we have here, so I'm going to be using the Sci-Fi. You can see there's a whole bunch of different switches down here. I'm just going to pick switch 1 and then press OK to add it to our library. Now if I scroll in here so you get a better look, you'll see the switch, of course, is following my cursor, and you'll also see a white arrow pointing, basically it's pointing up right now. You can rotate this by pressing the R key. Can rotate it 45 degrees. What the white arrow points to is basically if there is a wall right here like there is right now, it's basically going to put it on that wall. So if I come up here and I left click, you'll see automatically it goes on the wall. So I added a switch to our second room. I'm going to go down here and add a switch to our first room. I can do this just by, I'll actually add it over here, and I'll just left click. Now as you just seen, becomes a bit of a problem because we have our light here. The switch actually went to our light. So all we have to do to fix this is right click to remove the switch from our cursor. I'm going to left click on my light to basically move it out of the way here, and just left click again. Of course, right click to get that light off, then come back to my switch, left click to select it, then basically you'll notice that I can move it around again. So I'm going to left click to put it on the wall, right click to remove it, and basically just move my light back up there. Now you can see we have our switch there in our first room and our switch in the second room. Now I am in entity editing mode, so what I'm going to do is hover over our switch and just right click on our switch. You'll notice in AI Automated is the if use property, this basically means if the player uses this switch as he walks up and says, let's say he presses enter or whatever you assigned as the use key, whatever is in here, whatever entity, basically is going to be activated. Now if you remember, we named our first door door 1, so I'm just going to take out this word remote and put in door 1, then just say apply changes. Now again, if you wanted this first switch to open the first door and the second door, you would just rename this door number 2 here to the same name as number 1, so they would both have door 1, which then when the player pressed the first switch, both this door and our final door would open at the same time. But because they're named 2 different doors, I have 2 different switches. So what I'm going to do is right click on our second switch and change the if used property of it to door number 2. Now I'm just going to say apply changes. What I'm going to do from this point is basically our level's all ready to go, so I'm going to save it for you so you can look at it in future use. You can find it underneath chapter 3 in doors_switches.